if you're looking to make a site migration, right? And I think one thing a lot of companies forget about is this wonderful tool called Google Search Console that literally tells you how Google understands and views your website already. I would encourage anyone looking to do a site migration to look at Google Search Console first and see what are already some popular terms and things that you're already doing. What do you feel like are errors, or what does Google show as errors either on your sitemap or on your videos, or what's your performance look like? Once you've reviewed and have that information, at least a place to reference, because it's not the end all be all. It's just really good information. The other piece is that I think when you have an opportunity to either redesign or just maybe reformat some of your site, there's a couple of make sures that you have to have happen. One is how can you get to the most valuable information on your website in the fewest clicks?
Mhm.
So don't bury it 3 or 4 folders deep. If it's really valuable, it should just be easy to navigate to. The second piece is that a big thing that has been, I would say, probably over the last 3 years that we've actively practiced is just because you have a ton of information doesn't mean that it's architectured or set up on your site structure very well. You would likely benefit from redoing some of that information, removing some of that information, or combining some of that information. And maybe you go from a site that has 500 pages down to a website that actually has 200 pages. And it's funny to watch when that happens, how much more Google likes you now and increases the value of your SEO and your rankings and your authority just from doing little simple activities like that. And then I think the last one is probably pretty elementary, but I see this happen all the time. In fact, we've talked about this with several people in the last month, and so it's sort of fresh in my mind. And that is that let's say you're rebranding and you want to change your URL. Yeah, you're it's if you do it right, it's almost always a one step back, two steps forward scenario, right? You're going to have a small, and if you've done it right, it should be very temporary uh, dip in your results. And that's expected.
Mhm.
Depending on how you've done it, it could be 2, 3 weeks, which is great. Or if it's terrible, maybe it's like 3, 4 months, which is really terrible. And hopefully you learn your lessons. But the worst, I, I can't say that this isn't always bad because there are scenarios where this makes sense. But simply doing a domain forward as opposed to a page by page redirect and just doing a domain forward, I don't know the right way to say it, but it's basically like you're lazy and you're in problems. If you want to do it right, run a Screaming Frog index, look at all the current pages, and then let's build out the new site and let's make sure all the old pages have a new landing place to go. If you don't do that, you're absolutely missing out on passing on the link juice. And then doing your domain forwarding was of minimal value. In fact, maybe even hurtful. So those are the pieces that I have as far as technical, like make sure you pay attention to.